All right, guys, good evening here at Vintage. My name is Adam, and I am the head of sales here. So I'll be walking you guys through more about what we have here, what's available, and some of the client stories as well that comes with the builds. And so we'll go ahead and start this beautiful Pebble Beach green. You guys let me know what you guys think of this color. So this one has the worn glove interior here with the Wimbledon white dashboard. So this is an interesting new color that we are just now offering, and it comes from the inspiration from our founder Cho, which you typically always see on the lives, and he saw this over on the West Coast at Pebble Beach, and so that's where we got the inspiration for the color name, which is Pebble Beach Green. Now, and you also have the teak wood in the back here. This is real authentic teak wood, something you guys would see on your yacht. And then right under here, you have your parking sensors, your backup cameras here, and then you also have this easy lift up in the back. You have a built-in cooler, some roadside kits. So chrome trim. This one has a new stripe that we recently just announced. This one has no red through the middle, and what you'll see, typically see, is the stripe with the red in the middle, just like so. So this is a client, Todd. He's going to have his over down in Louisiana, and fell in love with the boxwood green, wanted something in time for the holidays, which we had a few builds, and they just ended up thinning out so quickly, especially once we listed them, that you could get right in time for the holidays. So this one will deliver for sure before Thanksgiving. So A is going to be the talk of the dinner for sure. Boxwood green, vintage stripes, tan top. I always recommend, if you want to go for the classic look, you go with a classic color, which boxwood green is an original color from the 60s and 70s, and then the stripes just add on to it so much, which some people, some clients like the stripes, some don't. Personally, I like the stripe a lot, just because I think if you're buying this car, you want something that you're not going to see a lot. You're buying something to have that's completely different than anything in your collection or vehicles or anything like that, and the stripe just adds to that. And when we'll look at something that has the stripe without all the protection on it, but this is the Brittany blue right here with the stripe on there, with the Wimbledon white accents. And then the worn glove interior. So Brittany blue is also an original color from the 60s and 70s. So it definitely ties it all together, especially with the tan interior. And this is probably the most classic option that you can get in an original classic from the 60s and 70s, and then boxwood green right behind it. And then of course you have the midnight blue. So midnight blue is quickly becoming one of our more recent favorites, even with the ball glove brown. This is personally my favorite interior. So I'll walk you guys through more of the build process, because starting from the back side, but Mary, this is Mary's build, and so something that they'll have down in Florida, but very nautical vibe, especially I have over towards the coast side. So the midnight blue, the vintage stripes, Wimbledon white accents, and so she actually joined the live yesterday, saw it in this state right here, which is basically a rival from our paint facility, gets set up here. This is where we start to lay all the carpet, install parts of the interior, install the stripes as well, And you'll see what goes up on this TV screen over here when the production line is open, which you guys have seen, in a few other lives. There's like descriptions, tools, torque specs, notes, photos on exactly like how to do every single step on to build this vehicle, and really how we build these vehicles completely different than a typical garage shop or restoration or resto mod builder. And the other big thing is we stamp and tool our own steel body panels. And so these are steel stamp panels, and you'll see that all throughout. And when you take a look at like a finished product on a build, is we go through with a gap gauge to ensure every single gap is perfect and within spec. And what you'll see through here, this is a build that just wrapped up final inspection. So GT silver with the tobacco leaf interior and the vintage stripes. I have an idea here. All right, and we'll go swing over to a few of these completed builds. And if you guys saw the live, I think it was maybe towards the beginning of the... Yeah, good. All right, check this out. So zooming through here, this is that custom Sherwood green. This is a client, Lindsay, and did showcase this vehicle not too long ago, probably about maybe a week ago, when it was like definitely not in the finished state. This one's like just about to ship out, but I'm sure she's so excited for it. But this one has the ball glove brown interior on the inside here, and it's really fun just seeing these all come together, especially with the clients that order them and see them all throughout. But well, I'll start from the start over here, which is where these vehicles get started with the production. So this is what we call staging, and all of these builds you see here are spoken for. And typically when you would order like a restoration or resto mod, it's all built on like a 50-year-old chassis. And so it's basically just like a steel frame and just a motor and suspension and 50-year-old engineering. And what you'll see over here, this is what you traditionally start off with, which is solid axles. You're gonna get a short wheelbase, a narrow track width, and this is where we came from. And this is actually one of the originals, which also has like Tesla battery, so don't worry about anything like that. We don't offer anything electric, but this one is an old R&D project, and you can just see the fit and finish is completely different. Like you can stick your finger through here, and then like on this side, you can stick your finger through there as well. So, but there's this one, and what we ended up moving from these restorations, we moved into those resto mods, which you see right here, which is a true example of a resto mod that we built. And so same wheelbase, same track width, you get higher center of gravity, and same solid axles, and very limited with everything with like minimal tech. But most importantly, you get zero safety features on the vehicle. So you get nothing like you'd find on your modern luxury car, which what we learned just over time of what our clients wanted. We'd hear the feedback all the time, and the only way that you can win is, one, listening to your clients, and that's exactly what we did and what led us to this product, which you see here. And so this is all built on a 2025 chassis. And so the key difference, other than a longer wheelbase and a wider track width, which approximately, and to a dot, is this is a 100.4-inch wheelbase versus the original, which was a 94-inch wheelbase. And so, the track width, which is also 2 inches wider. So you get a lower center of gravity. And we retain like all of your modern Ford drivetrain, your frame, everything like that. But most importantly, 6 airbags. You have one in your steering wheel, one in your passenger and dashboard, 2 in each of the front seats, 2 curtain airbags, And then this is also a functioning roll bar. So in case of a rollover accident, you and your family are protected. And also, basically, with those like restorations and resto mods, they're not typically tied, which this vehicle is. And we even laid like this sound deadening seam seal the whole tub to ensure that there's no like air cavities that come through and you get weird road noise through like different corners and everything like that. And so sound deaden the whole interior. And like I've taken this vehicle on many road trips, like 100 miles, and you know, am able to have conversations, go on highway speeds. Even when like clients come here and take test drives, you can have a conversation without raising your voice or, you know, having to talk loudly, even with the soft top on and off. So, and another big portion that we did to the like the drive that enhances like the drivability of the entire vehicle is this Fox suspension. So we partnered up with Fox themselves, and their facility is actually just 20 minutes north of us up in Gainesville, Georgia. And this is their race series coilover suspension. So they tuned it exactly for us and for the street. And so when you drive this, I mean, you can take it around corners and turns very, very smoothly and drive it just like you would with your modern luxury car. And that's what we learned, was that our clients were used to driving these modern luxury cars and like the G-Wagons, the Range Rovers, the Bentleys, the Aston Martins, and you know, what you're paying for is a $250,000 vehicle, and you want it to drive just like you just paid $250,000 for it. And with those restorations and what we used to build, the resto mods, you want to get that. You would get something that drove like a glorified golf cart. And that's what we heard repeatedly. And we ended up just continuing to adapt. And the only way to do it is moving away from something that was based off of the 50-year-old engineering, 50-year-old tech. And because you're basically gatekept by all of these old parts and suppliers that would end up using them. So, and again, this is one of my favorite combos, which is the ball glove brown, the midnight blue, teak wood. I think one of my favorite like parts of the ball glove brown is because it almost goes identical to the teak wood in the back. So. And the boxwood green here. So from this station here, where we install the interior, lay all the carpets, and the interior really starts coming together. And I think from here on, the door panels get basically fully assembled and tidied up, and then all the additional wiring gets done to the vehicle. It moves on, and all of the next pieces, like your finishing accents, your soft top, your door handles, your antenna. This is actually a functioning antenna. Check this out. So just like the original Classic, you can just pull this up and push this down, and basically you can use it just like the Classic. So, and then this one will move on to our test miles, which I'll go swing over to where we start to do the test miles on the vehicle. So this one has all of the yellow tape on the outside for the roadside protection. Each build goes through about like 50 to 100 test miles on the vehicle. And they get swung on all the way over here to where this Pebble Beach green is. Now this one's fully completed. I think we're about to start some filming in here. So that's why this one's pulled in. Check out these wheels. These are my new favorite wheels that, I keep on saying favorite because we keep on adding more things that are just new. And I think that's probably why we get I have the bias towards it, because we always add on new things and they're always better. So these are the forged aluminum steely wheels with the body matching brake calipers. So we offer two options, and if you guys go take a look out on our configurator, the configurator basically has all of our options. You can play around. I always get caught still continuing to play around with the different options that we have. But yeah, these that I think adding these wheels onto the midnight blue with the stripes would totally just change the look of it. I think that's, I mean, what do you guys think of it? Even black could rock it too. So check this out, all through the inside. So these are the retractable steps. And then check out this window crank right here. So that's like our whole philosophy throughout the entire vehicle, is like, how can we make it better? So one of the things, and still catches people off guard today, is the window crank. And constantly like have people trying to take this off, and just being so, thinking it's the old crank. So, but the second you look at the inside here, it's like, because when you take it out and you go drive it, people always will ask like what year it is, and they'll go take a look at the the lines and the gaps, and they'll guess, and they'll go like 1968 or 1972, and I'll tell them you're close, but it's actually a 2025. And they'll take a look on the chassis, and they're like, oh, that's a newer chassis. And then the inside, and you got all your screens, of course your airbags, you have 6 of them, 1 on your steering wheel, 1 on your passenger dashboard, 2 for your roll bar, and then 2 in each of the front seats. So yeah, your Apple CarPlay, your Android Auto, heated seats, heated steering wheel, dual zone climate control, 4x4 shift on the fly. So we got another Brittany blue right here. As you guys can tell, is I think we just went from a bunch of the different like blacks, grays, and silvers, and then kind of just switch it all over to the greens and the blues. So, but also talk like more on my journey, and also Cho's as well. And I think you guys always hear it from behind, and him walking you through with his hand and his watch. And I think he just went to go grab a mic, but I'll have him walk you through from the external view on how we kind of moved into this entire product, which we're the only builder in the world building. So he'll be out here shortly. But also in the meantime, while we do that, is I'll talk on my journey. So I started the company actually in operations roughly 3-ish years ago, and basically started on building those resto mods. And so those resto mods, and basically started all in the what we called at the time the rework, and from the rework moved into final production, final preparation for shipping the vehicles. Basically this final assembly line, which this facility looked completely different in 2021. Basically everything was going this way instead of now this way with like 2 lines. So, but we'll from there, that was when we transitioned into this model. And one, I'll have Cho join us here. Is the mic all connected?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, it's got to see the green light. So This is Cho. You guys always typically see him with his hand and his watch. And no white glove today.
I know. I don't know what happened to it.
Okay.
You took mine.
I did. I know we have plenty. But yeah, so I guess we want to start off. This is our founder CEO, but start off with maybe, talking through what led you to starting with this or getting to this current product that we're building here.
Yeah. Well, I think people know that story, and I'm gonna tell it, but I think it'd be really interesting to tell about your journey.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Because you have a lot of stories.
I do.
And you've met a lot of clients, and you've
Yep.
done a lot of deals, and
Yeah.
a lot of people are really curious about it. We're reading the
Okay.
comments, and
Yeah.
I think that would be cool. But yeah, I founded this company purely out of passion, car fanatic, had a lot of cars, grew up with no money, and I was so driven by wanting cars that it got me out of bed, and I pushed myself, and I worked really, really hard, and had a lot of cars. And it all started because I bought an old Bronco, and it was such a pain in the ass, honestly. It drove bad, and my wife hated it, and she threatened that it was either her or the Bronco, and I wanted to keep both, and so the only option was to make it better. And we literally went from a broken down old car in my driveway to falling into restoration, and decided restoration was good, but not great. And so we moved to Restomod, and that was a journey, and we learned a lot and got on the map. And then we decided, you know what the world really wants is a classic inspired vehicle with no compromises, luxury on par with your Range Rover, G-Wagon, whatever it is you drive, and modern safety features. And it really went from just a passion into really an obsession. And along the way, we've met a lot of amazing people and built a lot of amazing cars, and we think this is just the beginning. So, but yeah, you've been around for a lot of that. So I would love for you to talk about how you started here and what has changed, in that time. Because for us, like, time is like dog years, right? So in that time, the rapid iteration and growth and evolution of the company is like just an incredible thing. From your perspective, like, what do you think has changed the most?
Yeah.
And I get to have the camera.
I was about to say, you're gonna switch. So let's switch here. But I also think, one, we could probably like walk through kind of how everything has evolved from the Restomod. So we'll go switch over to this one, because I remember when we originally built this vehicle. Watch out through there. And I remember this one very well because it is only one of three. Is it 3 or 4 manual builds that we ever did in this model?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is basically, I think it was like in the beginning of 2022 was when I joined, and basically started off with making just quality alerts. And with if any of you guys that are watching know what like quality alerts is basically anything happens on the production line that is incorrect from the typical process, is it gets flagged. And as you can imagine, with something that is built with aftermarket parts and built on 50-year-old engineering and tech, there was a lot of them. And so if you remember, there was a lot of them.
Oh, yeah.
And that was just like the very early days on when we were building this vehicle. And it wasn't that we had bad processes or anything like that. It was just that the product was very limited. And so that was kind of like the time on when we started the R&D of this vehicle. And of course, we're making the products better and building the production of this vehicle and making them and building them faster, building better quality. And but still, like, this was a pretty late build, and you can still see that the panels aren't 100% straight, or anything like like on the inside. There's just very limited with like tech, and of course you still get the electric window cranks, but this one's not hooked up to the trickle charger, and the retractable steps don't go down.
There we go.
So
battery's down.
Exactly. They're pretty much married to the trickle chargers, and the newer cars like your G-Wagons, your Range Rovers, your Bentleys, Aston Martins, Ferraris, everything like that. They're all built on basically the modern wiring harnesses to where they don't constantly drain power. They're smart enough to figure out that, hey, they don't drain power. And in the 60s and 70s, they didn't have that technology, but in the 2025s, of of course they have that technology because your daily driver, you don't want to keep on plugging it in. But like, you're paying $250,000, wouldn't you want that? And that's exactly what we did with our current model, kept that. And but basically from when I started, I think it was just with the starting off with like the quality alerts, fixing them, making sure that we fed them back to the production line, because there was this constant improvement and process improvement to basically make the product better. And so from there, I think, if I'm remembering this correctly, I moved into basically, I think it was the test mile process. Test miles, doing the test miles in this vehicle. And so if you guys have classic cars, imagine doing the test miles, probably about 100 to 150, 200 miles in this vehicle every single day, every day, for pretty much like every single weekday.
I forgot about that. You drove it 100 miles a day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it was very loud.
Yeah,
it was very. It was rough, and it was also just. It wasn't comfortable. I joke about it, but I actually had calluses on my hands from the steering wheel, because you would drive it. It had a wooden steering wheel. You'd constantly be going left and right, in and out of the lane, and the seats were they're cushioned and they're bolstered and they were great, but not like your G-Wagon seats or your Range Rover seats. And that was one of the key things that we also heard from our clients, was the seats. Like, how can we make the seats better? And that was with our current model seats. I could drive cross country. Like, don't you agree, Joe? Like, you totally drive.
Difference.
I think you did that long drive from the Hamptons to Westchester, and you were in there, and it was like completely fine. So I've done the drive from Coral Gables, Florida, all the way up to like North Palm Beach. It's like almost 2 hours, and very comfortable.
One of these days, we'll do a cross country road trip.
Totally.
But we shouldn't do it. We should have one of our fans do it. How cool would that be?
That would be
and
cool.
You just drive it cross country. If you're watching out there and you wanna drive
that
one
would
of these,
be good.
like I mean drive. You want to go cross country.
Yeah.
It would be an experience to say the least.
Yeah,
That'd be
I
really
think.
cool.
What if we did like every single town? Well, I guess that wouldn't really work, because like town, change the fans. Yeah,
that might work.
Yeah, that may work.
Okay.
I think it could work.
Okay.
I think it's definitely something that we should definitely consider.
Yeah,
but
for sure. If you have any ideas, drop them in the comments. We're looking for ways to keep it interesting.
Yeah.
And I know everybody wants to do a giveaway. How often do we hear about that?
Yeah. Well, we have a pink one that would make for a really good giveaway.
Yeah. Should we go check
but
it out?
yeah, we could go check it out.
Yeah.
But and we'll probably talk like more on the process through this vehicle. But basically, from the test drives, moved into just like this whole post-production, final preparation for shipment role. And this is actually another huge sign that there was just something wrong with the product, because even though when you feed all the quality alerts and all the things back to the production line and everything gets 100%, the same way we build these vehicles, each station has 100% check. It does not move forward, other than from our engineers, our assemblers, our team leads all sign off on the vehicle. It was built, we learned, and that's where we developed that whole process. And so from there, we still at the very end, or like before the shipment, something would come up, and basically there was a ton of limitations from it, and just huge problems with the vehicles. And so we moved into this, which is basically from the 50-year-old engineering and 50-year-old tech to the 2025 Ford chassis. And so from here is we retain the drivetrain and frame, not using something with like a crate engine or different wiring harnesses or anything like that. And the other big thing here is you have independent front suspension. If you guys know anything with like independent front suspension opposed from the solid axles, is those vehicles, when you're driving and you hit a pothole or a huge bump on just like one side of the vehicle, it'll pull the whole side of the vehicle. Now with this, you just hit one bump on one side of the vehicle, it'll end up just moving that one side. So the drivability and comfortability of it is miles different. and far more comfortable. Like for your wives, your kids driving it. The other biggest thing that we would hear from clients, feedback, and we fed it right back to our team, and what we considered with developing this product was that they wouldn't put their wives in it, they wouldn't let their kids drive it, and because it drove like a 50-year-old vehicle, but there were no safety features. This vehicle, you get 6 of them, six airbags. You get 1 in your steering wheel, 1 in your passenger dashboard, 2 in each of the front seats, 2 curtain airbags, and then also a functioning roll bar, which the other ones were just sport cages. So wouldn't exactly protect you in case of a rollover at collision accident, and this vehicle will 100%. So, and another big thing, which I know from experience, is the sound deadening with this vehicle. We put it in underneath the dashboard, all throughout the inside, in the quarters, in the doors, and so when you drive it, I mean, this just cancels out all of that like vibrations and road noise that you typically get. But you know, you can put sound deadening in a vehicle, but we also seam seal the entire tub to ensure that there's no air cavities that come into the vehicle, and that was another huge limitation with the prior model. So, and maybe Cho, you could even talk about more about like the R&D process, because that's when I moved into the marketing and sales aspect of, you know, selling this vehicle versus building the prior model, which were those resto mods. And so I'm sure Cho could probably talk more onto like what we did throughout this entire, you know, development of this vehicle.
Yeah, definitely. And happy to share that too. While you're here, I would love to also, because you were in the transition from resto mod to the fully modernized classic, you've had clients who had the previous version and they've traded it in for the new fully modernized version.
That's right.
What do you think is the biggest, like what were their comments and reactions, you know, to go from a resto mod that we built to the fully modernized version?
Yeah, so I think a lot of the comments that we would get is, one, and you guys can go fact check this and check it online with our reviews, and they're all 5 stars. And the biggest thing is that it's a night and day difference, complete night and day. And you know, these are our clients. They're driving the G-Wagons, the Range Rovers, the Bentleys, and they know what good looks like. And so, you know, when you get like an old resto mod, you'd be like, okay, well, you know, I know it's not exactly new, but it's better, and it's a better, you know, vehicle than getting like an old, you know, farm truck, like a full restoration. And you kind of convince yourself that it's worth $250,000, but at the end of the day, there are way better options, which is, you know, you can get the look, but you can also get the drivability and the luxury of a modern luxury car. And so that's exactly where, and then like we can even go over towards Pebble Beach, and you can show off the interior, because that's one of the biggest compliments that we get that you don't get in a resto mod.
Yeah, one of the clients I can think of, if you're watching Charlie Plumley and his wife, they were kind of the full circle customer, because they bought an interior from us back in the day. That's how they stumbled upon us for their original 1960s Bronco. And then he loves his old Bronco, and but there were limitations, and it broke down, and it smelled bad, and all those things. And then they recently, I guess it's been, how long has it been now, Adam, since they took delivery?
I think nearly 11-ish. I think they've had it for over a year.
Yeah. About a year now. And the difference between the way it drives and the way it rides, and the luxury and the reliability and just the overall experience is night and day. And you should go check that review, because they really wrote a really great one. And that's a good story, because very few customers in general have had both, so they have nothing to compare it to, right? They can imagine what an old car is like, but Charlie, they actually had an old Bronco with the interior that we made,
Yeah.
and then ended up upgrading to a fully modernized classic. And you can just imagine, like, if you actually drove and fixed and dealt with your old car, and then one day you get a fully modernized one, you can appreciate every little detail and all the differences and all the nuances, because I mean, it really is night and day. And I think that's probably the greatest compliment we can have. We have clients that have had our, we call them version 2. Version 1 was old restoration. Version 2 was resto mod. And then we've had clients that had the previous resto mods, and they loved them, right? Because it was as good as it could get at the time. You couldn't get anything better. And even though those customers at the time, they wanted all the features that these fully modernized ones have, you really couldn't get it. And that drove us to produce the product that they wanted. And then, you know, we always say we essentially reverse engineered exactly what it was they wanted.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, we just recently had a customer, Jay, down in Macon, and this is a really cool story. Let me, so Jay, this one is a sentimental story, because I actually met this client back when we were doing restoration, version 1. And we were really, really early on, and so we're restoring rusty old cars. I met him in the parking lot of a shared retail space. This is like from my driveway to a side hustle hobby business. And he comes out and he told me he just took delivery of a Restomod from another builder. I'm not going to say the name. There's only a few of them.
Mm-hmm.
And his wife, I'll never forget, I could hear the pain in her voice. She was like, Jay is so bummed. He's so disappointed because he just waited all this time for his dream car, and he gets it delivered. I can quote almost verbatim, because I remember, I think his wife's name was Kelly. He was just crushed because he got in the car and it just died on him. And he had just spent like, I don't know what he spent, $200,000, waited a long time, gets it. And I remember he said to me, I never told you this, Jay, if you're watching. He said, I can't go through that again. And I thought to myself, man, like, we can't let that happen, you know? And we're doing restoration at the time. And I knew that the next evolution from restoration was Restomod, modern restoration. And at this time, that was all the craze. That was as good as you can get. And so we built, Jay, a Restomod. And it was an early build, Brittany blue, beautiful truck. And I was nervous, to be honest, because when somebody buys something from me, I don't care if it's $1 or $1,000 or $100,000. In this case, it was like $200,000. I feel a serious amount of obligation. And knowing his story of a nightmare story where he got his Restomod and it didn't even start, it was dead on arrival, and how just upset he was. Disappointing people is like a non-starter. Like we as a philosophy in our company, that can't happen, you know? And I remember always feeling this pressure, and still feeling this pressure as a founder and CEO, is that people have expectations. And the more money they pay, the higher their expectations are. So what you build and the quality and how we go about it, it's everything, because you can't make promises and not deliver on them. And the game that we played was literally building an airplane while flying it. Very hard to do. And by the way, I've done lots of startups, so I know the game really, really well. And I can tell you that in general, a startup is super challenging because you have all these problems. You've got this thesis and idea in your head, and you want to deliver on it, but there's plan, there's actual, and nothing goes according to plan. And you know, when you build a car company, it is one of the hardest things to do right. Almost anyone can try, almost anyone can do it. And once I got in it, I was like, wow, this is not going to be easy. Yeah. And I'll show you guys like the
and I remember it.
Yeah, yeah, you were there.
I was there.
And basically to build a startup of any kind, I would say, but especially one with physical product, first of all, you have to be obsessive, you have to be maniacal, you have to be borderline just crazy, because the number of problems that you will encounter will outnumber the amount of time you have to solve them before you die. And when I say die, I mean the company dying, right? And if you don't solve it fast enough, then the company is going to die. And because I was also so passionate about what it was we were doing, there was no way I was going to let it die. And when it comes to, here's Juan, by the way, behind the scenes. If you want to know the magic behind the social media, one of our very talented videographers, content creators, and editors, Juan right here. Juan had his first, not only 1 million view reel, what is it now? 4.5.
Nice.
Oh, it's 5 million?
I think so. 5.
Damn, man.
Wow.
You make it look easy.
He's keeping track.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you guys.
And he looks like a model too, right? On top of that, he's behind the camera. No, but back to we're at a very serious, terrible moment of startups. And this is a reality, by the way, because I remember when the movie, Network Effect, the Facebook movie, was
Yeah.
Network Effect.
Yeah.
Everybody after that was like, oh man, I want to be an entrepreneur. It's so cool. And that was like around the time Instagram blew up, and you had all these people wanting to be entrepreneurs. And I've been an entrepreneur. At the time, we called it a business owner, right? That wasn't like cool. And all you do are solve problems. And if you can't solve problems well and fast enough, faster than the pace of at which you're going to run out of money or the company is going to die, you'll fail. And what happened was I already had multiple companies and multiple startups, so I was used to the pain. I was used to overcoming problems and issues and all that stuff, but I hadn't done it with cars. And before I built my previous company, which was a technology company, we built mobile apps, never built apps before. And before I ever started a company, never started a company before. The most important thing is to be a crazy, maniacally good, fast learner. Because essentially in building this kind of product is people, process, and parts. In the beginning, none of it's right. And anyone that tells you it is just lying to you, right? Because all you'll have is this idea of a perfect product. You got people, process, and parts. And every single time you do it, if you don't close the gaps quickly and find the right people, train the right people, coach the right people, and then create processes from learning, doing it not well, doing it wrong, doing it whatever, right? And then if you don't have the right parts, and all three have to go well at the same time together over and over. And I remember going through this process, and it was a race against time. And we opened up this factory 4 years ago. And in that 4 years, we've covered at least 8 years of work. Number one, because we worked like 90, 100 hours a week, easily, every week. And I'll talk more about that. And then number two, when we started fielding a great team of problem solvers, we created leverage. And that's huge because you can only do so much in 24 hours, right? And by building a great team, building great process, and being maniacal about the parts we use, and just doing it over and over and over, it allowed us to cover a lot of ground in a short period of time. And I'll show you, people ask us all the time when they come here, how did you do this? And we did it with zero outside capital. We did it with a relatively small team. And it didn't take us years and years. Since we moved in this building, we had 2 product launches, and we did it with grit and determination and passion and resilience and just a maniacal focus on getting it perfect. I can tell you, we still have that maniacal focus, except the difference today is that we have a lot more cycles, a lot more product, a lot more people, and the team makes all the difference in the world. And some of these guys are here right now, actually. Let's check it out. I love this over here. Tyler over here is sweeping, but he's not the janitor though. Tyler,
Hey,
how are you doing, man?
Good, how are you doing?
Tyler here is a great example of great people. Would love to have you share your story on how you started, what were you doing, and what do you do today for the team?
Well, about a year and a half ago, I started out as just a delivery driver, shuttling vehicles back and forth from here to paint facility, and then started seeing some areas that needed some assistance, so I just started pitching in, trying to help and make some better processes for everybody. And then shortly after that, I moved over to incoming inspection team lead, where we addressed a lot of the things over there and built a good working team over there, and finally got that self-sufficient where they're cranking everything out every day. So, and now I'm the finishing process manager over the last 4 or 5 stations. So progress is good here, man. I'm excited to be a part of it. So
It's
thank you guys for the opportunity.
Sorry, absolutely. It's incredible to watch the progress that people make here. You are our teammates, and it didn't take years and years, right? I think a lot of people think that this kind of stuff it's not possible to do in the time frame that we did it. What do you think is a key driver in being able to move fast, do it right, do it well, and do it in a repeatable way?
Well, I think part of it is one of the great experiences here is you actually give people an opportunity to prove themselves. People here are not held back. They're given opportunities and encouraged to grow and be a part of something bigger than themselves. And I will say is, if it weren't for the people in here and that I interact with every day, I wouldn't be willing to put in extra effort like this. So it's a team effort, and I'm excited to be a part of it. So
yeah, I remember us at the paint facility early on. You're stocking shelves, right? And that's like, almost anyone can do it. Stock shelves, no big deal. But I watched you really early on tell me about how you figured out, hey, if I do this and I do that, it helps these guys, it saves time, if we organize it this way. And no one asked you to do that. Because at the time, you're just stocking shelves. So like, tell me about your thought process on making things better and how you think about like solving problems.
Well, one of the attitudes that I've been around in the past is people have the mentality of, that's not my job, and that doesn't do anything but hurt yourself and hurt the next guy, because if you do it, they're going to do it. So kind of lead by example. You start doing stuff that you see other people aren't willing to do. Other people want to come in and naturally just help you and build as a team. So it's really is not a one-man show in any way, shape, or form. And one little job, whether it's sweeping the floor over here, or welding over there, or inspecting in here, everything has a trickle effect if everybody doesn't try to pitch in. So it's the team, man. It's all the team.
Yeah. And we talk about it all the time, but the team is incredible.
Yes.
And the best part is they just keep getting better. Tell me what it's like to be on a team like this, because you worked in other places before, and I'll save my answer, but I would love to hear from you. Like, what's that experience been like? What are the people like, and what makes it special?
Well, it's kind of surprising, because one of the first things I said was I've never been a part of a large group of people like this where everybody truly, genuinely just wants to see the other person do well. So that was what initially drew me into it. And it's cool because when I first started, we were making 4 trucks a month. And you guys are like, we're going to get 20. And in my head, I'm like, there's no way. I don't see it happening. But I was proved wrong every single time. Every single obstacle or goal or challenge that's put in front of us, we figure out some way to keep going and keep going in such a short time. So it's just for that, it's motivating in itself to be a part of that. It's really cool.
Absolutely. It's so fun to be a part of and watch. And people might think that because I'm the founder CEO, like I feel differently. I'm a player on the team, just like everybody else. And when we hold ourselves to a high standard of perfection, which is like nearly impossible to do, but when you get the right people, like they want to be perfect. They like, I remember going to the detail team saying, guys, great job, like 0 detail hits is like impossible. And their answer was, and we can do better.
Yep, they did the same thing again tonight.
Yep.
And I think that's 3 out of the last 5 trucks have had that. And months ago there was 70, 80 hits per truck, and now it's phenomenal to see how much everybody's grown. It's almost speechless, something you just got to see for yourself.
Yeah, definitely. It's the making of a championship team, and I always tell people that you never actually get there when you chase perfection. But that's the beauty of it, because if you love it, the game is chasing perfection.
Correct.
And so I'd love to know your favorite build of all time that we've done on the fully modernized classic.
V2 or V3?
V2. V3.
V3?
Yeah.
That's a tough one. I have a lot of different favorites. I've seen a lot of different really cool vehicles and colors. One of my favorite color combinations is honestly the leadfoot gray right there with the black combo on it.
Yeah.
I love the darkness of the color and the accents with the black grille, how it stands out, and the hinges on it. That one to me is probably one of my favorite color combos on it. I like that one a lot.
Yeah. Leadfoot gray is a great color because if you look around here, all these are like these beachy, bright colors. And then when that rolled in today, I was like, damn.
It looks aggressive.
It does.
It looks
it does.
aggressive. I wouldn't want to see that coming up behind me if I'm driving in traffic,
Yeah, you got it.
That's a beautiful truck.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, listen, appreciate you. Congrats on the progress. You've
Thank you,
earned
guys.
every bit of it, and I know the best is yet to come. So
Appreciate you
keep
guys.
up the good work.
No.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Have a good night, guys.
Yeah, you too. I love that he's sweeping over there, and what time is it right now?
7:15, 7:13.
7:15, and this is not like on his job description. It's not something he has to do. but it's the type of commitment that our people put in, and they go above and beyond, compounded daily and with multiple people over and over, that creates the magic, and it's very, very hard to replicate. We constantly talk about, the people, because I think that in any company you're always going to have employees, you always have process, you always have parts, or in the case of building technology, you have code, but it is the passion behind it that you cannot replicate. And we should go take a look at this Leadfoot Gray one over here while we're at it. I'm going to mic back up here. Leadfoot Gray. This is
Did you have a Leadfoot Gray?
Did I have a Leadfoot Gray? Anything or a?
Maybe I can't remember if it was, or if it was just the Grabber Blue.
No, Grabber Blue was the color of my very first original Ford Bronco that started this whole thing.
Yeah.
And I always tell people that if that truck hadn't had all these problems, this brand, this company that you guys know and follow, it would not exist, right? Think about it. If I had gotten that truck and everything was fine, I would have just kept driving it and everything would have been fine.
Yeah.
And I found that to be funny because I never meant to do this. It wasn't a plan. I wasn't trying to start a car company. I think that when you talk to the great brands out there, it's usually a founder solving his own problem, his or her own problem. And it's usually a problem that they were very passionate about that drove them and pulled them to do it. And I think when you think about the past, and when I was a kid, I loved cars. I remember in my driveway, my parents, when I was 16 years old, they got me a Nissan Sentra, not cool, and I wanted to make it cool, so I was always out there doing stuff to it. And I didn't have hardly any money, and I had a job, and anytime I got money, I would go buy something for my car. Wheels, black light, whatever. I had all kinds of stuff in my car. And I had to do it all myself too, so, and my parents would come out and they'd be like, what are you doing? Why are you always messing with your car? And I remember this argument we had in the driveway, because it was like 7 o'clock at night, and I was probably supposed to do my homework. I was in high school, and I was like, because I love it. And I think that's really important, because one thing I've realized about starting companies is that if you don't love it, you shouldn't do it, because it's going to be really hard. And we didn't finish the conversation about what it takes to get through all that, but the passion part is key, because there's almost nothing harder than starting a company other than starting a car company. So if you don't love it, and when those challenges come and the things don't work out, and you have COVID hit and supply chain hit, and then the parts that you bought don't fit, or they're delayed, or your processes aren't great yet and you need reps to get it perfect, or you have people but they're the wrong people, the wrong stage, you better be all in and you better be committed. And I use the word relentless, because I think that to build a great company, if you don't love it and you're not relentless, then you're not going to get through the problems. And another word for entrepreneur or founder is problem solver. And what we did was we not only were solving a problem that was a passion for me, my own car breaking down, we found other people, a whole army of them, that were passionate about solving the same problem. And now today, I always say I started the company, but these guys over here, these are the guys that are going to finish it. Not just them, but everybody else. So I've got to give a shout out to our people, because without them, it's impossible. You couldn't pull it off. And I think to also do it on a big public stage too, where people are watching, and the number of views that we get, and the people that dream of owning this one day, that's a lot of pressure. And if you don't do it well, then you're just a mediocre company, and nobody needs a mediocre car company. So if you are interested in getting a build from us, text us. I'll take this here, and reach out to us. You can call or text us anytime. We're always on. It's 7:20 p.m. here on Thursday, and we've got a couple builds that are options for you, including that Wimbledon white. We have a build in progress, guaranteed Christmas delivery that you can customize. This Raven Black with cognac interior is a dealer build for post-oak motor cars. They're a Bugatti, Rolls-Royce, Bentley, Lotus dealership in Houston, and this is 1 day away from final inspection, which happens right here. And once that happens, it will ship to Houston. If you want something right now and you want it in black and you like this combination and you don't want to wait, text or call us right away and we'll get you set up. Or it's going to ship to Houston and it'll be at the Post Oak Motor Cars dealership where you can find it if it lasts. This is going to be a really, really nice spec. And if you want something now, the Wimbledon white in stock, ready for immediate delivery. This is Pebble Beach. I actually don't want you to buy this because I want to keep it. It's our demo, but we can be convinced. And then this right here, Wimbledon white, Raven black grille, chrome trim, has just about every single option. And this one's ready to ship immediately. So tomorrow is Friday. And if you want to be driving this really, really soon, shoot us a text or call us. And you can go to our website, vintagemodern.co. There's a link for our inventory. And if you want to customize your own, go to vintagemodern.co, and you can customize your own on our configurator, choose from 30 different paint colors, 12 different interior colors, tons and tons of options, and our team is standing by. All right, okay, Adam, any last words?
Nothing. But if you do want something that you can still choose your exterior color on and get it before Christmas, we have one that looks just like this. And but give us a call. And I know I have many clients that have told us and told me directly that this is one of the best decisions that they made, other than their first kid getting born. So,
what about getting married? That was
okay. Well, getting married too.
Okay,
I guess we
right.
could.
Wow.
Yeah, but there are a lot of people that don't wish they got married.
Right. Hey, we've done
Yeah.
a bunch of divorce presents recently.
That is very true too. many divorces where they
Yeah.
try to hide it, but
Yeah.
they still want it so bad that they still place the order.
Okay,
So,
well, don't out everybody
Yeah,
here.
yeah, I
All
can't.
right.
I can't.
Hey, for the
But-
most part, everybody's happily married and has kids and enjoys the cars.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
all right.
Enjoys
okay.
all four seats.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful night. Reach out to our team, and we appreciate all your support, and shout out to our team.